the sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shouting loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Sit your punk ass down. If you're not ready to be a voice, now, welcome, guys. Today is Friday, TGIF. Got Diana Murray Clements on the line. Got Vincent Squire on the line. And listen, I'm fired up, ready to go. But first, I want to say, if Farrakhan Swab is watching the show right now, he's probably gonna call and admonish me after the show, because I got a call last night from Beloved that had me in tears. It is a moving thing when men, can fully express their love, their compassion, their concern for one another. Do you know what I mean? Not the yo, love you, dude. Not that. I'm talking, just genuine, right? Unfettered love, compassion, caring. And so I got a call last night from my brother. And, he just said, yo, I'm just calling because I'm concerned about you. He said, I was checking you out. And he said, you look like you're losing weight. And, you need to take it easy. And I got off the phone with him, and literally, man, I wept because, it is, like I said, to have those kinds of people in your space is a good thing, right? And to know that I'm surrounded by people like that means a tremendous amount to me. So I want to thank him, but I want to let you know that today, and to you too, Vincent, because you've been admonishing me about getting help in the kitchen. I had help this morning, right? I did. I had the cavalry arrived at 5:30 this morning, right? I got in the kitchen at about 2:30, and I do my live around 3:00, and I saw Diane in there at 3:00 in the morning. I'm saying, why the hell is Diane up at 3 in the morning? But anyway, and wait a minute, why is she up and not in the bakery with me? That's what I want to know. So if you're up, come in the bakery. But she was up, and she was in the thread for a minute. At 3, there's very little that anybody could do except kind of keep me company, maybe have a cup of coffee with me and that kind of stuff. I get into the zone around 2 hours later. That's when everything starts to collide, right? And if I don't have help, it just kind of piles up. I get it done eventually, but it's stressful. So my cousin called, and she and her son said, hey, listen, we're going to be there at 5:30. No, well, she asked me, she said, when do you get into the zone? I said, about 5:30. I said, at 5:30, it's going to be on and popping in the bakery. That's when it happens. So she and her son, Tyler, showed up. And when they got there, they saw exactly what I was talking about. I said, see, now this is where it all happens. I had peach cobbler coming out of the oven. I had blueberry cobbler in the oven. I had apple cobbler being prepped, right? I had dishes in the sink. I had stuff in the freezer and refrigerator. So I needed all hands on deck. So they came in and they relieved me in a big way. And so the energy I have today to do the show is attributed to them coming in and helping. So that's why I'm doing a show today, Farrakhan, because I wasn't going to do the show. I was going to listen to you and not do the show. But I did get the help, and it was tremendous. So that's where we are from now on. I'll get that kind of help toward the end of the morning when I really need it, just kind of tidying things up before I exit out. And that's kind of it for me. So I'm happy to be able to do the show because I got a lot I want to talk about. I got a couple of very interesting phone calls last night outside of the one from Farrakhan. I got a phone call. I won't mention the person's name, but I got a phone call from them. And we were talking about um, Negro whisperers and slave catchers and the carrots that the corporation of white supremacy dangles in front of black Americans, right? And the person asked me, whether or not everybody has a price, and I said, it seems that most people do. I don't think everybody does, but the corporation of white supremacy rolls the dice and believes that the majority of people have a price, and so they dangle the carrot, and they dangle two, they'll dangle 10, they'll dangle whatever they need to in order to indoctrinate that slave catcher or that Negro whisperer, right? To set him or her loose within our community to create maximum sophisticated confusion. So as soon as they see that in some way we begin to organize around an idea or thought or movement, that's when they infiltrate, and then they start dangling these carrots. And then you see a mass explosion of confusion because they wind up grabbing slave catchers and Negro whisperers, and then they push them back out into the community to spread narratives that are dangerous for us. So, she was, we had that conversation, and then so I want to kind of talk about that, and I posted something, Vincent and Diane, about herd immunity, and I know day before yesterday we had Lori Endicott Thomas on, author of 5 books, working on her 6th books, 30 years as a medical researcher, right? So for those who say, well, what qualifications does she have to say what she says? Well, I think that what I just mentioned qualifies her. But I want to talk a little bit more about herd immunity, right? And then the other call I got last night was from my daughter. And that one also, I was an emotional wreck last night, guys. Because, she called, and I love my Lucy. But she called, and I thought that, we were just going to have like our light conversation. Hey, Daddy, how's it going? How's it going with you, sweetie? Yada, yada, yada. But when she called, she was in full tears, bawling on the phone. And so, as a dad, I'm figuring somebody did something to her. Right? So, I'm ready to try to figure out how I'm going to get to Philly. And in talking to her, she said to me that, she said, Daddy, it is hard being black. And that's what was weighing on her to the point of tears last night at about 11:15. And so we had an unexpected conversation, but we had one nonetheless. And so looking at all those things, I thought again about Farrakhan saying, Eric, take a break. And that's why I entitled this show, Keep Pushing. We don't have time to take a break. Because the corporation of white supremacy doesn't take a break.
No, they don't.
They don't. And we don't have time to take a break. So,
Well,
go ahead,
we
Vincent.
took a break. And look what happened. We let our foot off the gas because in the marches in the 60s, we started to progress and move. Then we started progressing and we let our foot off the gas. We started getting black city councilmen. We let our foot off the gas. We started getting black mayors. We let our foot off the gas. We got a black governor. We let our foot off the gas. We got a black president, and we just put it on cruise control. We cannot let up.
We cannot take a break. Listen, the corporation white supremacy is actively resetting the mousetrap, actively recruiting Negro whisperers and slave catchers, actively doing that, right? And they're telling us, and so even understand, like the thought of taking a break, how far back it would set us. So yeah, I could not do the show, but I'm thinking about, and Diane's gonna talk. I don't know what that noise is in the background, but Diane's gonna talk about how impactful the show is because somebody listening to the show a couple days ago was able to benefit and hopefully change the trajectory of their lives. So I don't see a break, right? Now, what I would like maybe is some additional contributions, not in terms of money, but in terms of resources, right? So that, we could figure out how to share the burden. And I don't mean burden in a bad way, but it is a burden nonetheless, right? Of educating, informing, and empowering our community, right? So, we show up every day from 10 to 12 doing it. And we're grateful for the folks who tune in and listen and watch and share it. And by the way, hit the share button, please. But broadening the base of resources would lighten the load for the few. So that's one of the ways that we could do it. So we could figure out, and maybe in that Sunday meeting that I said that we're going to start having at the bakery from 7 a.m. to 8:30 on Sundays, maybe we can start to have some conversations about that. But we cannot let up. We must keep pushing. We must keep pushing, guys. Because, there are a lot of young people, I got to imagine, that are feeling the frustration and the burden and the pressure that Lucy felt. But maybe they don't have a parent to call. And so now how are they shouldering that? How are they walking with that every day? And so when we talk about on this show socially transmitted diseases, or we talk about micro and macroaggressions, and we talk about all of those different things, these are all things that these young people are carrying around. And we just expect that they're just going to, push through it and everything's going to be all right. Well, that's not the case. A lot of them falling by the wayside. And then we wag our fingers at them. We shake our fingers at them. See, Lucy had a dad to call. She had a resource. She had an outlet. A lot of them don't. And we drive by them in our cars with our windows rolled up, our music bumping, our air conditioning on. Right? So we have to figure that out. Because those are the soldiers of tomorrow that need to fight. They need to fight. Or we die. So, should we talk about AOC first?
Yep, let's go.
Yo, so listen. Why the hell don't we have a congressperson in the 10th congressional district with courage like hers? I would say balls.
Because we still have voted again for Donald Payne Jr. That's why. Because we can't get anybody else in. Not because people won't run against them, but because people won't vote for them. Because they say, oh, well, what will they do?
But we have an example, Diane. We have a clear example now, right, of somebody who has, pardon me, because I'm going to use some foul language, so if you got kids, tell them to excuse themselves. AOC, because she held to her guns, has what they call fuck you money. I'm going to say that again. Because she held to her guns, and she said, I'm not taking money from the DNC. I'm not taking money from these other people. I don't want corporate money. Right? And she held to it. Even though they threatened her, they said, we're going to primary you with the world. We're going to do all these things to you. And see, most people would fold. Then they come crawling to the DNC, or they come crawling to the corporation of white supremacy saying, okay, give me some money. I don't want to lose my seat. See, it wasn't about a seat for her. It was about service for her. She went there to serve. And so in her service, she held to her guns. And she said, I'm taking money from the people who put me here. And see, when they put her there and they said, we're going to fuel you and your campaign to do what we want. Now go stand for us. That's called fuck you money. So now when she stands there in Congress, and that's why, I'm going to tell you, that's why Donald M. Payne can't do what she does. Because he ain't got fuck you money. He's got money from those people who got their hands up his ass, making his mouth move. See, this is Keep It Real Friday. I extended it. So now, when your congressional district looks like it does, with some punk asses like we have, don't wonder why. So now we sit and gawk at what's going on in the Bronx. And we look and say, oh God, look at AOC. Oh, isn't she bad? Oh, she a badass. Oh, she told him. But then we come back to our filth, to our ineptitude. How do we do that? And then, see, because it goes beyond Donald M. Payne Jr. Because now look at all your mayors, the ones that you go, oh, yo, I roll with him. I rock with him. I ride and die with him. Yo, he's in the hood. Yo, I grew up with him. Well, see, they're all propping Donald M. Payne up. They all contribute to his campaign to make sure he stays there. See, because they don't give a fuck about you either. They don't want an AOC, because if they had an AOC-like person in the 10th Congressional District, they themselves would not be mayors.
Right. If they had an AOC, let's get to that other jackass, Cory Booker. You know, if he stopped taking money, New Jersey wouldn't be the 50th in getting back federal money. And you want to know how bad your freaking roads are and your neighborhoods are. You want to know why your cities and municipalities can't afford to upgrade the infrastructure. You want to know why you're drinking polluted water, because you elect jackasses like him that you ride with, who once you need them tell you F you.
And then again, understand, it's not just the individual. It's the individual as a cancer that metastasizes throughout the Democratic Party. See, so Cory Booker gets there, right? So he's a cancer cell, right? Then he starts to metastasize. How? Because he begins to hold fundraisers for other Democratic candidates or politicians, right? And then he begins to spread his money to these inept people so that they can get elected. That's what happens. And so this whole thing in New Jersey is just cancer ridden.
The part about being a puppet master is that you cannot do a full-scale production with just one puppet.
I'm telling you guys, how do you look at Diane? Is she bad or what?
I'm here.
No, I'm saying is
They
AOC
tried to intimidate her.
is
They
AOC
sexually harassed her.
is AOC bad or what? You know, and then Ayanna Pressley, right? Representative Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, they try to vilify those women, right? They try to tell us that that's not what we need. That's what they said, right? That's not what we need in our government.
No, if you got an ounce of sense, you know we in our government.
We got a call. Call or go.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Diane. But I got to mess with you about your previous statements in this AOC lady. I don't have anything against her, but come on, guys. AOC is taking money from poor people and getting nothing done for them.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, here we go. What is she getting done?
Wait.
Tell me what bills
No.
she's
I'm
done.
wait.
Let's get
No.
ready.
Wait, Vincent. No. See. I was wait. I didn't think that Farrakhan was going to be the person to call and ask that question. I thought it was going to be somebody else, but I got the. So here's the deal, Farrakhan. If you expect a person who is opposite everything that's in Congress to get bills passed, that's not going to happen. Everybody there is trying to reject her. So they don't want her to succeed. So success to you, or what they believe success to the voter, is that she gets bills passed. And if she doesn't get bills passed, then we say she failed. See, that is the corporation white supremacy at its brilliance, right? But what we need her to do is to expose the cancer See, and then we have to be surgeons when we go to the voting poll and cut the cancer out. Her job while she's in there is to shine a light on the cancer. See, we're asking her to go in and cut it out. That's the wrong thing. Her job is to go in and say, now I can look at the books. I can see where they cook them. I can see where they do this. I can see how they do that because I'm inside now. Now, when I tell you what's going on, you all have to go and vote and cut it out. Then when you cut it out and you elect people, so see, as long as the 10th Congressional District here in New Jersey continues to elect punk-ass Donald and Payne, and then we say, well, why isn't AOC getting anything passed? Well, because we didn't cut the cancer out in New Jersey. You understand what I'm saying to you? So we got a job to do. We can't ask her to do our job.
And we've been derelict on our job.
So 400 cancer cells. There are over 400.
Now, I'll let you guys say all of that, right? I'll let you guys say all of that. But again, her job as a congresswoman is to get something done. Okay, she's not just supposed to be a...
No, you got it all wrong, Farrakhan. Farrakhan, I love you. I love you.
You guys just talk for 2 minutes.
Yeah, but right. But what you're saying doesn't make any sense, my beloved.
No, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. You're saying that she's going to be in there, what? She's got a 2-year term.
Let me ask you a question, Farrakhan.
So she's going to be in there for 2 years, accomplish nothing,
and
then you think that let me finish. And then let the patient that you said needs to get that metastasizing tumor taken out.
Let me ask you a question. I got a simple question for you, Farrakhan. I got a simple. Farrakhan, I got a simple question for you.
Hold on.
No, I'm not holding on, Vincent. Farrakhan, I got a simple question for you. If I got elected to the 10th Congressional District, right? What, given the current makeup of Congress, right? Given the current makeup of the Senate, what reasonable thing that goes contrary to what they're all trying to do, which are things that are not in your best interest, what reasonable things do you think I would be able to get done? I want you to answer that for me.
Again, I'm not saying that she's going to be able to beat the system, but I know one thing: if she doesn't learn how to, as we like to say in the hood, politic, right, and make moves that create something, we lose.
No, Farrakhan. Oh my God.
Okay. All she does is shine a light, right, but never gets anyone to take a scalpel and cut it out. We lose. Okay, that's it. Both of you guys have been cancer survivors.
Let me ask you a question.
You didn't get those radiation seeds put in you, right? Right. If the doctor that saw something wasn't able to go to the next step, right? If another doctor didn't say, okay, let's put these seeds in them so that we can kill these tumors or this bad area in your body, you're dead.
No, you know what? That's perfect. No,
you're dead.
That's a perfect.
Going to let us die in the argument.
That is, you know what, Farrakhan?
Now, Farrakhan, this is the situation. Now, since you used the cancer metaphor and AOC, this is what's happening. She's being the exposure. See, before the exposure, it was politics as usual, which is why we don't get any money in New Jersey, because it's politics as usual. See, I didn't know I had cancer. All I thought was that I just kept going to the bathroom a little bit too much until it was exposed, and then I get rid of it. But here's another thing, okay? In us getting rid of it, what we also do is give her support. The biggest fault that we had in the Obama administration is that we did not go back to vote after the presidential election. All these Republicans started taking office, and everything that he did, they made sure failed and failed bad.
All right, we got another call. Call or go.
Good morning. I'm so disappointed that it was Farrakhan too. Farrakhan.
Let her talk, Vincent.
In that 9 minutes, right? In 9 minutes, she did more of a job than, and I hate to say this, than women will see and have ever seen on that floor with the woman at that microphone and that speaker.
Let her talk, Vincent. Vincent, let her talk.
We see in local politics, listen, I felt so vindicated as a woman, right? That, as Eric says, has always had the "I'm gonna give you the F you" mentality, which she did though, is she let us know that happens across this country to women every day. It's what no woman I've ever seen in Congress, black, white, purple, or indifferent, has ever had the courage to say to me. That's her job. She's what I was brought there to do. That's right. She went up there and said, "No, I am not taking this. I am not going away quiet in the night. You're going to hear me,
Right.
motherfucker."
But listen, you got to stop interrupting the callers. So listen, here's what I want to say, Farrakhan, real quick to the cancer analogy, right? So when my doctor diagnosed me as having cancer, right, my doctor had a job to do, but now I had a job to do too. I couldn't just keep living my life the way I was living it and expect my doctor to be able to cure me. There were things that, I don't know what that noise is.
I don't know what that noise is. It's not me.
Okay. Hello?
I'm on mute, so I don't know. I'm putting it back on mute. I don't know what that is.
Jody.
It must be.
I'm on mute too.
Okay.
I'm on mute too.
All right. Jody? Anyway, so let me see if I can, I gotta try to get Jody off. Hold on. There we go. So Farrakhan, my doctor, when it was diagnosed, right? So let's say the doctor is AOC, diagnosed the cancer, right? It wasn't just me going, "Okay, doc, go ahead and get rid of it for me." My doctor said, "Eric, there are things you need to do. There are things you must do. You must fight. You must fight for yourself, and then I can do these things." And so with AOC is diagnosing the cancer. What did she say? She said, "This is a culture in here. Now that we know that, what are we prepared to do about it?" So we can't just sit and say, "Well, she's got to fight it. She's a congresswoman." No, she's going, "Hey guys, here's what's happening. Now I need you to fight to get it out. And if we're not prepared to fight to get it out, we will die. And she'll die too. Because they're actively trying to remove her every single day." And I said this in the midterms. I said, we need to be sending money. We're not just waiting for the people in the Bronx to give her money. We need to give her money. We need to give money to Ilhan. We need to give money to Rashida. We need to give money to all of them. Because they're actively fighting. And they're being attacked every single day. And we're not doing what we need to do to stay alive. We're relying on them and them alone. Call or go.
Hey, man, it's been a long time since I called in.
My man.
How you guys doing, man?
I'm fired up, ready to go, man.
Good, man. Listen, I just called to talk about AOC. And Congress goes by seniority. So first year, second year Congress person is not going to have committee picks and so forth and so on unless they designate it to certain committees. But her AOC's, not the speech, but when you say people are not getting anything done, you have to be careful. Her Green New Deal legislation was picked apart and put in different places because Mitch McConnell ain't passing nothing. But people have ran on portions of her Green New Deal. She is accomplishing in her 2-year period more than most first or second year Congressperson did. Her bill is matter of fact, if they would have took it up disproportionately, we would be suffering from all of these COVID-19 deaths and things of that nature due to conditions in our community. So you gotta be careful when you talk about people are not getting things done in Congress. And Eric, you're absolutely right. If you oppose the majority and you're a standalone person, it's not going to appear that you get anything done. But you are putting enough pressure on them to come out of their conformity and wrestle with things that they've been ignoring all along.
Well, here's something else, Mike.
Yeah,
They say
exactly.
one of the big knocks on Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders gets nothing done, right? They say, Bernie Sanders has been in Congress for whatever time. He's been in the Senate for whatever time, and he didn't get anything done. Look right now. So don't look at the legislation. Please mute your phone. I hear whatever that background. But forget about the legislation. Look at how he took the entire Democratic Party and contorted it, shifted it, right? And we didn't do our job, right? So we're pointing fingers at him, go, oh, he didn't pass any legislation. Oh, he didn't do whatever. And we had Negro whisperers because I saw them all in the feeds during the Democratic primaries. Bernie Sanders didn't do this. He didn't do this. He's been name one piece of legislation. Name this. Name that. But look at AOC. That's Bernie Sanders. Look at Ilhan. That's Bernie Sanders. Look at Rashida. That's Bernie Sanders. Look at the courage that the progressive wing of the party has. That's all Bernie Sanders. Look at the infrastructure for fundraising, the fuck you money. That's all Bernie Sanders. So if we're looking at the wrong things and we're allowing this narrative to call these people failures, to call Ilhan a failure by saying, well, let's talk about her legislation, to call AOC a failure because we say, well, what legislation did she pass? I'm saying they are reshaping. They're reshaping, and they're doing it alone because we're not with them. Go ahead, caller.
See, and the whole thing that we have to look at is when, and what kills me is people say, oh, you're taking money from the poor. No. If this person is standing up for me, what is it worth? Is it $20 really that big of an ass to get somebody to fight for you? To make changes. We're talking about a group of people right now that is delivering us our new freaking norm. The norm that we need, because I know people tired of going around wearing a mask. The norm that we need. I know people tired of our failed school system. I know you tired of being overtaxed. And they're presenting something that alleviates what we're tired of. But yet, we listen to mainstream politicians, people who had the big money because they got big corporations who are advertising against them. And all she's doing is showing that light of the deals that they make in the dark. It's up to us now to make that change.
Look, Nancy Pelosi tried to kill her off. Chuck Schumer tried to kill her off. They tried to kill her off. That woman's there fighting for her life and for ours. Every day. Literally, Ilhan Omar, life threatened. Threatened. Because the system, the establishment, this structure understands what she represents. And to Jody's point, think about all the young women. All the young women. Even my daughter, who I talked about earlier. Watching AOC on the floor with courage and conviction. Not standing down to anybody. What that means to them. So when you say she's doing nothing, I say ask these young women. See, when we've grown up in a culture where men believed, even up until that day, that he could just talk to her like that in public to a member of the House of Representatives. See, there's something wrong. And she, to have the platform, and again, the courage, and fueled by those people in the Bronx who said, go get him. That was a beautiful thing. It was an absolutely beautiful thing. And what I'm saying to you is this. We don't have that in the 10th Congressional District in New Jersey. We don't have it.
Any district in New Jersey. Not just the 10th. No district in New Jersey. Or in New Jersey Senate. We don't have it. And when you say that a person who is standing out there and fighting for you alone is doing nothing, that is the second biggest sexist remark I've heard all year. That's the equivalent of you saying to your woman, you don't do nothing. Okay, when she leaves and your house is falling apart, now what the hell do you say?
Yo, she's a
Yeah,
she's
we gotta stop.
she's a
beating
bad.
down
Listen,
people who are standing up for us.
She-
we need to start supporting people who are standing up for us.
she's
Go
a
ahead, Eric.
bad mamma jamma.
Okay, I just want to say, for the record, something we talk about on the show when it comes to black folks, and it's what I just heard all four of you guys just say. Y'all are all caught up in the emotionalism of the situation.
No.
I'm telling you, this woman is non-productive. I'm not
Wow.
saying I'm against her, because I'm not.
Wow.
She is non-productive, and she will produce nothing. Okay?
Well,
That you are saying
Wait. So again, what I'm asking you is this, Farrakhan. So
Okay.
what I'm asking you is this: What is it that you expect? Right? Because people voted for her, right? What do you believe they specifics? What do you think they expected her to do?
To put forward legislation or bills, right, that will benefit the people of her constituents.
Okay, so wait a minute. Are you?
Hold on, let me finish. Not consistently make the topic about her life, what's happened to her, what somebody has said to her or done to her.
Hey, Vincent, can you do me a favor? Wait a minute. Vincent, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Wait. No, Vincent. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor if you're at your computer. Can you just look up the bills or the legislation that AOC has proposed since she's been there? See, because...
Before it gets passed, I don't care what she proposed.
Wait. Stop for a second. Wait a minute. Are you kidding? Yo, Farrakhan. Wait a minute.
How come you say you don't care what the bills and legislation that she
Come on now.
The same word said that she's done nothing.
Come on.
Putting bills up, she's doing something.
Come on. Wait a minute. Beyond that, what I'm saying to you is this. Farrakhan, what I'm saying to you is this. If she gets... If she goes into a house of enemies, a house of snakes, right? People who have ill will toward all of us, right? And you say, well, I need her to go in there and negotiate. And she's going, I'm going there to tear it down. Because they don't want to negotiate with me. They want it all. They want to kill all of you. And you're saying, well, she should go in and negotiate. She's saying to us, there's a culture there that wants to kill us all off. And so she is exposing it, and she's going, here's the stuff that's good. Here's the serum by way of the proposal of legislation. Here's a serum that's good for these people. And those... Go ahead, Diane.
So let me give you the 22 bills that she has proposed this is from 2019 to 2020, and most of them are in committee now for discussion. So just recently this month, a few days ago on July 21st, she proposed HR 7711 to require the display of certain identification for certain law enforcement officers and other purposes. And I'm just going to go through the titles of them. And this is from July, and we're going backwards. Prohibiting Law Enforcement Use of Chemical Weapons Act, currently in committee, currently has 11 other co-sponsors that are co-sponsoring her bill. The Pandemic Anti-Monopoly Act, she has 2 other people that have co-sponsored it for her. It's in committee. It's been referred to the committee. To require major corporations receiving financial aid related to COVID-19 to make annual payments of equity to employees of the corporation which such aid is outstanding and or purposes. It's been referred to the committee. She doesn't have any co-sponsors as of now. That's just in the last couple of months. I'm just going to go through some other ones. COVID-19 Funeral Assistance Fund. She has 13 co-sponsors. That's currently in committee right now. Pandemic Disaster Assistance Act. No co-sponsors, but it's currently in committee right now. Fracking Bans Act, that was done in February. It's currently in committee now. You talked about the Green New Deal for Public Housing Act. It's been referred to committee. She has 26 co-sponsors on that. Let's go down. Last year, Fair Chance of Housing Act of 2018. She has 11 co-sponsors. It's been referred to committee. February 2019, recognizing the duty of federal government to create a Green New Deal. She has 100 co-sponsors. It's currently in committee now. So I skipped several, but like I said, since 2019 to now, she has sponsored herself 22 bills. So sponsoring means that she initiated the bills. The co-sponsors means that she went and got other Congress people to go along with her bill and co-sponsor it with her, because when you get other people to co-sponsor it, it holds more weight for when it goes into committee and more likely to get approved in committee and then moved on.
Yes. Now, Farrakhan, with that amount of work that she's done. Okay. Farrakhan, with that amount of work that has been done by this one woman herself, if you consider that nothing, I think that people should strive to get to that level of nothing. And people are going to be striving to get to a level of nothing because there's still nothing. Because not one of them did she tell me was done.
Wow.
See, that's the difference, right? If you're not going to get a result, I can throw a lot of things out there. This show throws a lot of things out there. But if this show doesn't get anything done, then the show was worthless. Well, this show isn't getting a lot of things done.
Farrakhan, I could also go to the record of Bernie Sanders and talk about all the hundreds of bills that he sponsored.
And I don't support Bernie Sanders.
But I'm just giving you an example.
No, I got what you're going to say. We talked about that before.
We talked about what?
About Bernie Sanders and his history of what he's passed or proposed in legislation. We talked about that.
I could pick any congressman and tell you. I can pick any congressman and tell you that their percentage rate of getting stuff passed is very low.
Very low.
Because,
very low.
So it's not like she's not doing anything. Maybe from your eyes and your point of view, you don't see her doing what you want her to do. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. I think that we beat this. I think that we beat this down. Right. Farrakhan's belief is that she's not.
We're going to talk about this in 2 years.
Right.
How about
So
that?
so Farrakhan's listen. Right.
This
So I don't. Right. So but again, but what I don't want to. Right. So what I don't want to do. So look. Farrakhan. We're not going to convince Farrakhan. I got that. But we pointed out the legislation that she proposed. We pointed all those things out. So for all of the listeners, it's for you to determine whether or not you believe that she's getting stuff done, right? So I don't want to have this conversation to try to convince Farrakhan. I want to have the conversation to talk about what's going on. And then for every individual who's listening to the show to make a determination on their own about what they think. I personally think that she's getting a lot done. I personally think that she's an inspiration. I think that when you are an inspiration to people, when you encourage people to run, when you can leverage your prowess to support other progressives, to remove other long-standing Congress people from office, right? So you start to cut the cancer out by getting these other people out of office. I think that's getting stuff done, right? And it's not going to happen overnight, right? It wasn't built overnight. It's not going to be, unfortunately, it's not going to be imploded overnight. But we have to, and this is where I'm looking at this. I would say, whatever we want her to do, what are we doing to help her get it done? Whatever that is. So if we realize we're having this conversation, we're saying, well, a lot of people have a difficult time getting stuff passed. The percentages of legislation that gets passed by Congress by X, Y, and Z. And we know why, right? Because people are blocking it left and right. And they're blocking it because they have special interest groups that are backing them. And this legislation may affect this money over here or this contract over here or this other thing. So we all know that. So the question that I'm saying is, well, what are we doing? Do we know what kind of legislation she's trying to get passed? And then what are we actively doing to help her? What are we doing to ferret out the congressmen and women who are opposing it, thereby opposing what's in our best interest? And then what are we doing to remove them from office? So now, if we're not doing any of that, and we're looking going, she ain't doing nothing. See, I'm saying, she's in a dogfight getting jumped. And we're sitting on our stoop watching. And we go, man, she getting her ass kicked. But it's not her ass that's getting kicked, it's ours. Right? Because it's our circumstance that is screwed up because of those people who were there, creating and supporting an institution that is operating against us. That's what I got to say about that.
I think that she's doing a great job, and I know that you have a lot of listeners who think that she's doing a great job too. And I want to say to those listeners, look, call in and say that you think she's doing a great job.
No, I don't care if they call. Look, I don't care. Call in, not call in. Look, she gave the speech, evaluated. She talked about the culture that exists there. Do you think that that's the culture that exists? Do you think it needs to be torn down? And if it does, then who should tear it down? See, that's what I want to know. Who should tear it down? If that guy feels that he can talk to a sitting U.S. U.S. congressperson like that, should he be outed? And then who should do it? And then what should we now? What contribution should we make when he runs for re-election to ensure that he doesn't get re-elected? What should we do? Or is it all on them? Is it all on her? Is it all on Ilhan? Is it all on Rashida? Is it all on them? Did we just say, are we just bystanders watching our future get flushed down the toilet by people like that? See, it's the same thing I said about Mitch McConnell, right? So we sit and call him all of the names that we call him, right? They got all of the whatever, right? The memes about him, so forth and so on. What are we doing? Because we know that he is actively working against us. Actively. What are we doing to survive?
And why is that jackass still in office?
Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. What else is on the docket, guys? Got anything else? I got some more stuff. But if you got, go ahead.
So Murphy has backed down and changed his mind on what the opening of schools are going to look like.
We knew that.
He's now, like I said before on my Facebook page, I don't know why we're waiting for him to tell us. We need to really be talking to the union to see what they're going to do, because they actually control whether the teachers are going to be here or not and whether education is going to move forward. So he's talking about various changes that are going to happen with the school system and how it should look, as opposed to throwing it back to each individual district, telling them what they need to do.
Yeah.
And we talked about that, very passionately on the show. And for those who want to know, no, I don't make comments or get on the show to talk just because I have lips. One of the biggest things that we talked about is the school thing and our children going back. And a lot of people have been listening and have been chiming in. And people have been making phone calls to Murphy. In fact, Political Insiders, I believe one of the biggest people who has been talking to him had mentioned something that was said on the show. And dealing with the black voters in general and how we truly feel about the school system and its virus. So this show is making changes. We're not just here just talking. We're not just here just ranting. We're not just here just, wasting your time. No, we are making fundamental changes in the lives of the citizens of New Jersey.
Listen, yeah. So, if I was a teacher, I'm not taking my ass into that school. If I had children, school-age children, I'm not sending my kids to that school. I'm just not doing it. It is ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. There's no way that I would be doing that. You got to be foolish to. Anyway, look.
There's a lot of different reasons as to why, but what Murphy is stating now is that on Friday, he's developing a new remote-only option for students, because now he understands that the concern that parents have, as well as the teachers, that they won't be sending their kids back to school. So there was an article inside of NJ.com, and they talked about how the state is now going to give guidance to the school districts, as opposed to what he did initially, was he sent them out and said, put your plan together and let me know what the plan is, and then do it. So now he's giving them guidance, which makes more sense. So now you're consistent from the top of the state to the bottom what the school education is going to look like, as opposed to everybody willy-nilly doing what they want. He states that he's going to allow parents to choose an all remote learning for their children for this fall. And he also talks about how remote learning does not mean what they have done in the past of me sending out information and you guys me putting stuff up on Google Docs, you do your assignment and then the teachers check it. No, he's talking about actual virtual learning where the teachers are teaching the classes as they were before, which is what it should have been to begin with. I don't understand why before they couldn't seem to get that concept that you shouldn't just be sending out assignments, that you should still continue to do classes as such, except you're doing them virtually. But for whatever reason, whatever excuses they used, many didn't do it. Now, Lakewood decided that they were sending all of their kids back to school. That school would open in September. All the kids would be in school. The issue with that, the concern with Lakewood is the majority of the students in Lakewood public school systems are Hispanic and Black. But the majority of the school board are Jewish. And they don't send their kids to the public school.
So they don't give a shit.
Right. So there was a big concern about that. But then you go back to, when we talk about voting in elections and school boards, this is who you voted in there. So you voted for people to sit on your school board kids who don't even go in the school system, but they take the school dollars and move it over to their school system.
Yeah. So listen, I want to. So here's for me, because we are confused, and we're confused again because there are so many narratives out there. There's so many lies being told about how dangerous this is, what we should be doing, whether we should be wearing masks or not masks, right? That wearing a mask is harmful to you, and you should just kind of go out there in the world, and you should contract it and let your immune system fight, right? And this conversation about herd immunity, right? And I think that if people were really clear on how dangerous this is, like crystal clear on it, like if parents knew that there was an active shooter in the school, they wouldn't send their kids. If everybody knew that there was an active shooter, then Murphy wouldn't even be talking about sending kids in there, right? So if there was this belief that that there was imminent danger, nobody would be talking about sending kids in there. But there is a belief that the danger is not imminent. That is the issue. Now I want to read what I posted. I said, enough with the nonsensical talk about herd immunity. I said, in the U.S., 70% of the population, which is more than 200 million people, would have to recover from the COVID-19. Wait a second.
Good morning, Eric. How are you today, man?
Hold on 1 second, Will. Let me finish reading what I'm reading.
Okay.
And mute your phone, please. So I said 70% of the population, or more than 200 million people, would have to recover from the COVID-19 to halt the epidemic. If many people become sick with COVID-19 at once, the healthcare system could quickly become overwhelmed. Please mute your phone. This amount of infection could also lead to serious complications and millions of deaths, especially among older people and those who have underlying conditions. So now, when you hear people talk about, and Diane, you brought up a great point about that school district and that it's made up of Black Americans and Hispanics, but the board doesn't represent that. So when the people who are out here talking about herd immunity, they're talking about genocide for Black Americans. See, because Black Americans would be the first to die because we lack the health care, right? We are discriminated against by data. Data shows it in the hospitals. So if we contracted it, because we did shows about it and we pointed it out, that the doctors wouldn't have us to be the first ones on ventilators. They wouldn't have us to be the first to receive treatment. And so what are we really talking about? Like those, like I really want to have a conversation with those folks who are out here talking about herd immunity. So 200 million people, so your suggestion is that 200 million people get infected, right? We understand already that black Americans, because of their current condition, are more likely to die.
Yes.
What are we talking about?
And in larger numbers. And in larger numbers. In fact, I had this conversation this morning. I had a conversation with my doctor, my physician, my urologist, and my neurologist. They talked about, one, they're not letting their kids go into school. And they said, two, herd immunity is a bunch of crap because there's going to be more people dying from the herd immunity than it would actually do in saving lives.
No, that's absolutely correct.
So the theory of the herd immunity. Oh, also the other thing is that in terms of the same topic, all of them said the exact same thing because I read some posts about masks. They said no, and three of them did the same thing. Two of them did the same thing that I did. They researched the source of the people putting out the information about masks not being effective. Guess what we found out? Two of those groups that put the information out happen to be Russian rumor mill that trolls social media. One of them is an African rumor mill sponsored by the Russians. It's all fake news that they have to get people to react wrongly. And we're losing lives.
We're losing. Will, go. Go, Will.
Hey, good morning, Diane. Good morning, Vincent. Hey, Vincent, what's going on, my friend?
Big Will, what's going on this free fall News Friday?
Listen, I'm gonna get I'm gonna comment on the last topic, and then I'm gonna go into Phil Murphy's thing with the schools. Yes, we do have cancer. It's in the White House. Okay, so that's into that. Okay, and AOC, keep up the good work. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. All right. My thing is about this. Diane, I wanted to ask you a question. So I didn't get the chance to read the paper. I got it right in front of me. But there's like two articles in front of the paper I got in front of me. For a state in dire straits, is weed a new pot of money? So Phil Murphy, he's always talking about, Trump helping him with federal dollars, the Connecticut governor helping him with federal dollars. So it says that as Governor Murphy passed budget proposals when they thought the state would see marijuana purchases in 2018 and 2019, but put the first year figure as a low of $60 million. So what is Governor Murphy going to do? Take that money and use it to cover his shortfall? Because he's saying every day that we need federal help. We need federal help. We need federal help. So keeping the schools closed is a good thing.
Well, let her answer the question, Will. You asked her a question.
Say that again?
You asked her a question. Let her answer it.
Okay.
So, Will, this is what I think, and I've sent my messages to Governor Murphy as well. So you're talking about, and you're begging the government, the federal government, to send money because New Jersey needs money. However, you're sitting on a bill that could generate, from what you say, Will, just from what you said, about $60 million in revenue in 1 year. So why are you not trying to move forward with that bill in a constructive way so that you can generate your own money instead of going to ask them for $9 billion that we was asking the federal government to give?
Yeah, because Trump is not going to give it to him. He's
right,
exactly.
No. He's not going to give it to him.
He's not going to connect it nothing.
No, he's not going to give it to him, but you also have to pay attention. He's not asking him to give him the money. He's asking to so that we have the perception that he's working on our behalf.
Yes, that's right. He already knows what's going to happen. Yeah.
So I think.
Go ahead, Giant.
So I think honestly, and I send them many, and I always think that when there's a problem, you should give some solutions. I gave them many solutions. as to what you should do. One, you get rid of those freeloaders. Eliminate them and those salaries, those pensions that we're paying out to them. That's a good $1 million right there that you could put back into the school system. Start to consolidate some of these police departments and fire departments. Get rid of these not captains, but what do they call? I guess they are captains or sergeants or whatever. Eliminate them and create police directors to oversee both departments. Start consolidating these smaller towns with your county services. Stop having individual services for the police department, fire department, and everywhere. Start consolidating so you can save more money, because you're going to want to save on salaries, you're going to save on pensions, you're going to save on retirement.
Hey, Diane, what about regionalizing?
Wait. And Eric.
What about regionalizing schools?
I'm sorry, go ahead. What did you say?
I said, what about regional?
I know Diane, Eric, and Vincent. There was just some discussions in reference to in South Orange, New Jersey. I think that it has happened in reference to consolidating fire department, public safety. To my viewpoint of that, I would be scared to consolidate my fire department. Because due to the fact that the distance of the towns, Orange and South Orange and West Orange were all connected together. But in the response time, if you're at another fire, who's going to pick? You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
And I understand your point.
Right. So let me explain, and I'll use Hillside as an example. So Hillside has 2 fire departments, 2 fire locations.
Okay.
1 department, 2 locations. We're only 2.7 square miles. Okay.
Okay.
That's 1. So
You're talking about Hillside, correct?
Hillside. I'm talking about Hillside, New Jersey. So we're top heavy in lieutenants and captains and all of these people. Okay.
Okay.
So that means we're paying 6 figures. The lowest that our fire department and our police department employees average are making is $80,000. That's the lowest. So you're looking at people making 6 figures, and not just 100. We're talking about $125,000, $135,000, $145,000 a year. So if we, one, consolidated our 2 departments into 1 department, that was safe. So when you talk about, you would be concerned, like, what if there's 2 fires that breaks out? What would happen? What normally happens is we have, what do they call a consortium shift, where if an additional neighboring town needs assistance in our particular area, say a fire breaks out in the Week Rate section and they can't get enough fire trucks from north and we're closer, we are obligated, we have a contract to come and assist. The same thing with Irvington. Irvington will come into Hillside. Hillside will go into Irvington. When we had 1 fire truck, and we have 2 now, we had 1 fire truck down without a ladder. Irvington came in to assist, Union came in to assist, North came in to assist. And what happens is, when they come in to assist, we write them a bill back to their township for assistance for that day. It would work no different than how it works now. So consolidation doesn't mean that you're going to lose services. It just means that we're going to divert some of our funding so that we have a lower expense. That's all it means.
That's what I was going to say. All towns have a consortium ship, or they consolidate anyway. Okay. All we're doing is basically putting it into action. The other thing that he can do is stop the funding right now to police and fire in these municipalities. Right now, hold on, slow down. Because
explain what you mean about funding. Because when people say defund the police department, you need to explain exactly what you're talking about, because taking money from the police department is not what you want to do.
Thank you, Diane.
Explain what you're talking about.
Thank you, Diane. Explaining what I'm talking about is this. Right now, our governor has somewhere close to an excess of $230 million that's set aside for municipalities for equipment. Now, some of them, go to fire trucks, in which they buy a new fire truck every other year, and the other one is only 2 years old and serviceable. We can forego that bill right now, table that bill right now, and divert those funds into the school. And the other things that he needs that he said he's going to shut down. The other thing is that we still have that slush fund that they gained from raising the taxes on the turnpike tolls that they still haven't decided what to do with. Let's
Right.
You had a question and something about the school system, Eric. What were you going to say about the school system?
Well, I don't know if we still have Farrakhan on the phone, but I want to take his call, and then I want to talk about the fact that maybe if we regionalize the school, how many school districts do we have, right? And then
Somebody needs to mute
no,
their phone.
that's Farrakhan.
I
He's cut.
think that's Farrakhan at the
All right,
moment.
Vincent.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I
Farrakhan.
put it back on mute. No, I want you guys to continue with your conversation. I can speak about what I was speaking about later, but I like what y'all are talking about right now.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you look
you're
at
talking
the
about municipalities,
Yeah.
how many school districts
So if you look
do
at
we
the
have?
number of
How
school
many
districts,
municipalities do we have? What's
well,
the
how,
question?
no, I know how many municipalities, but how many school districts, how many superintendents? So when we talk about pensions, right? We don't need all of these superintendents, right?
Okay, so let me just address that one thing. So when you come to talk about the school superintendents, there has already been a ruling or law put in place, and Governor Christie did this about capping superintendents on their salaries. So that's already been in place, because there were a lot of superintendents that left after that because they couldn't make over, and I want to say it's the 140 mark. Once they hit 140, that is your cap on your salary. So
Right,
they're
but
not
still,
letting them
but
go
when they
into 200
retire,
anymore.
but Diane, but part of what I'm trying to get at is this: when they so they cap out at whatever, but when they retire, right, they get a pension, right? And the thing that's crippling New Jersey is this pension. So we don't need. Why do you need a superintendent in Newark? And why do you need a superintendent in East Orange and a superintendent in Irvington, a superintendent
Okay,
in...
so I'll tell you why. Because the needs of children in Newark are not the same needs of children in Irvington.
No,
When you have...
Go ahead.
That's why.
No. So, but my
Go
question
ahead.
is this: why can't you have a superintendent that oversees them all? You got principals, right? And why can't you have that structure where, that's why I say regionalize it. So why can't a superintendent get the information about the needs of these various children from these boards of education, from these principals who are boots on the ground in the schools, and then why can't the superintendent who's over the regional school system then administer like that? Why do you have to have individuals?
So what you're saying is... So, for instance, we would take all of Essex County and put one superintendent over entire Essex County, and then the flow chart would fall down to the principal. They would be the next in line. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Or the assistant superintendent,
that's
then
absolutely
the
right.
principal?
That's absolutely right.
Is that what you mean?
Yep. Why couldn't that happen?
It could happen.
Right. And
It
so
could.
now think
Now,
about all
what
of the
would happen
superintendents
is-
that you cut out.
Who would pick them, Diane? Who would pick your superintendent then?
Well, the superintendent is the superintendent is a hired position, and they're hired by the school board. So that would mean that all the school board members would have to get together, and all the towns consolidate and have a vote on who that superintendent for the county would be.
Right.
And
But
then the
we elect
superintendent
the
would
county
then hire-
executive, right? So we figured out how to have a county executive. So why wouldn't we
Right.
be able to have a county superintendent? We can figure it
I didn't say
out.
It couldn't be done. It
So,
could be done.
Eric, just finished, and I'm gonna get off the line. You guys have a good weekend. Another article, they were talking about the students need mass training for schools. Listen, here's how to get your child accustomed to one according to the expert. It has a picture of a child trying to learn how to wear a mask, and also it has a Star Ledger. Woodbridge schools made arrangements for children to attend classes, but Murphy's announcement on Monday allowing parents to option for all remote learning was a game changer, he said this district superintendent. The governor expected to provide more details and guidance today.
All right. Thanks for
You guys have a wonderful weekend.
you too. We got another caller.
So-
Caller, go.
so the- Go ahead.
Caller. They might have hung up. Go ahead, Diane. I'm sorry.
Okay, so going back to remote learning and children wearing masks. So let me say this about kids wearing masks. I was out yesterday and I passed by the park in Maplewood, and the kids were out there. They had, I guess, soccer practice, and they had a bunch of different things that were going on in the park. And those kids had their masks on. So for those parents who say kids can't keep their masks on, it's a lie. If those are the same parents that are talking about we want to keep our kids home because it's safe, but it doesn't make any sense.
Got
That
it.
was in Maplewood. In Hillside,
Diane, I think
by
they're
the
talking about
stadium,
younger kids when they say that, though.
these were little kids. I'm talking about these were 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids that were out there. This is why I'm saying that. Little kids was out there.
Well, then they lose the argument that she always thought it was like, parents talking about the first graders and kindergartners.
Right, exactly. And that was the concern. And it still is the concern because you do have kids, little kids that, may or may not. But I've seen a bunch of little kids going in the stores everywhere. Those kids have little kids have their mask on.
Right.
So, again, it's like, I guess you was like training a dog. You're not really training the dog. You're training the human.
Right. Call or go.
Go figure. But go ahead.
Hi, so Eric, I was going to call you last night too. Isn't that weird? I thought about you because I looked at Trump's press release, right? And for the first time, me and Donald Trump agreed on something. And it was about education. So there is, I said to someone a couple of weeks ago, if I'm going to keep my baby in my home, right, and I'm going to have to give her this space, I question the pupil per capita, which no one seems to question. So that amount of money that is allotted to every student every year, which is such a sham on parents, because if you look at it by numbers, the percentage that teachers get is the lowest, and the highest amount of the pupil per capita goes to central offices where the superintendents and the big salary goes, and our children don't get the supplies, right?
Yep.
So I wondered, and I questioned a couple of weeks ago here in North Carolina, well, if I'm going to keep my baby home, and the only thing you're going to give me is that teacher, which is at 20% and sometimes 10%, then what happens to my money? And didn't my boy Donald Trump get on TV yesterday and say that school should open? And if school should not open, and if a school as entire building should not open, the money will go to the parents. And if a parent should choose virtual learning and is forced to do virtual learning for the entire school year, then that money should go to that parent. That is a very important issue when you're talking about parents who, some of them, are going to have to find daycare for their kids at home. And he broke it down to that level. And to show you that I'm just not someone that runs around hating Trump, right? I just believe in what is right, and what is wrong is wrong. And I'm so afraid that the pushback about that is going to be the Democratic Party.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because in most neighborhoods of color, right, they're run by Democrats. And let's take Newark, for example, that $1.2 billion budget. My baby's pupil per capita in Newark was $19,900 and a little bit of change. When I moved Lena from the public school system to the charter school system, and that money was to follow her, that became an argument about we were taking money from the district, but if I had moved to North Carolina 2 years ago, then that money would have followed me here, right? Well, not the $19,000, but you understand what I'm saying, right? And then, but the school district, Newark Public Schools, still kept 10% of my baby's pupil per capita and said it was for administrative costs. And when we dug, what we found out, that was for the big salaries at Cedar Street. They were taking my baby's money, right?
That's right.
That is such an important issue. And
It's
I
criminal.
thought of you last night, and I was like, I should call Eric and see what he thinks about this.
And now you know.
And then I heard you guys talk.
Now you know what I think about it. I think it's criminal. It is criminal. It's criminal, and it's not only is it criminal, but it's crippling New Jersey's economy. So now you have these superintendents, right, who when they retire, these massive salaries, right, they get these massive pensions now, and we gotta pay it, and we gotta keep paying it, and keep paying it. We need to get rid of them. We don't need them.
Yes, we do.
We don't need them.
Yes, we do. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how that is going to fall out.
But you know what? You know what, Jody? But to your point, right? Because the Democratic Party benefits from this current system, they have no interest in dismantling it. So on one end, they cry wolf, right? We don't have any money. New Jersey's going broke. We got to figure something out. But over here, they're the ones who are breaking the bank.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, come
Diane,
on now. It's the biggest sham ever.
Let me translate that. We don't have enough money means that we don't have enough money to pay for all of the wealth in which you have given us being administrators, and we don't have enough to spread down to give an equal or fair pay to the other teachers.
So the problem with the budget in the state of New Jersey and probably many other states is they mismanage the money. They never put the money where they're supposed to put the money. If they put the money where they're supposed to put it, like when they started the lottery system and said this is specifically going to go into building schools, new buildings, education. If they kept that path, we would not have this problem. But they didn't keep the path. They started pulling the money out, pulling it for the pension, pulling it for the turnpike, pulling it for everything under the sun, for lawsuits. All of these other things, they funneled the money to use it to fund their other interests. The money that we get that's allocated per child, we will never get back because that's tax money. And they're not going to give you a relief on your taxes, by no means. If in every city, the majority of your taxes, the highest percentage of your taxes goes towards first the school board, then the county, school board, then municipality, then your county, and then the state. That's how your taxes are divvied up. If you look at your tax bill, you will see the highest percentage goes towards your school board. Now, while kids will be home doing virtual learning and teachers will be out of the schools and be at home as well, virtually teaching as they should be, they're going to still say, well, we still have to maintain the building. Well, the maintenance of the building should not be as expensive as it is when the building is empty because you don't have.
And here I got one better for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
People, maintenance of buildings is not a part of the pupil per capita. So, and this is going to be interesting to see. I'm telling you, this is going to be interesting to see. I felt like someone whispered in Donald Trump's ear, hey, you want to get him? Start talking about that pupil per capita because my baby's pupil per capita is broken down into percentages, right? And we're not responsible for that building. That's the SDA, School Development Authority. Now I'm just talking Jersey, right? I'm in North Carolina, but I know that pupil per capita a little better, right? That money is broken down, Diane, by teachers, right? Supplies, right? There's no building maintenance in it. Administrative costs, administrative duties, administrative. But when you really break it down, which is crazy because my argument, Diane, about it is that in my mind, right, in a hospital, the highest paid person in the hospital is usually a surgeon, right? In a school building, it is my opinion as a parent that school is a relationship between a student and a teacher, and everybody else is just like filler, right? I feel like teachers should be making much more than the principal, much more than the superintendent. Those are the people that save lives or make lives. That's just the way I feel about school, right? But the lowest portion of the administrative cost is a teacher. Crazy. So I feel like... So I feel like if my baby is, anyway, I don't even want to get into my philosophy about school. I'm just saying to you, it's going to be hard for them to say, well, your body, because it really, those babies are bodies and numbers and a dollar amounts, right? So if my baby's body isn't in the school building, and the only thing you're giving to me, because I opted, me personally, out of needing Wi-Fi or needing laptops, I don't need anything for that. I just need that teacher. So all you're taking technically out of my baby's pupil per capita is 20%. Here in North Carolina, at least where I live, the pupil per capita is $9,763. That's really crazy too, right? $19,955 in New Jersey translates to $9,763 in North Carolina. New Jersey is crazy, right? But only 20% of that money will I use. You can't
Right.
take my money
So-
then and say, well, the rest of it's gonna go to the building or the maintenance or the buses or you can't do anything with that money.
Well, that's
Who does
the
that
whole
money
thing.
go to?
It's going to stay in their pool. They're going to continue to collect it. And unless,
Oh, wow.
here's the unless people wake up and start talking and asking the question, where's my tax?
Right, but you know
I
why?
want my
But
tax dollars
you're
back.
100% right. But here is the disgusting part of it. All of these politicians who should be waking you up to talk about it are rocking you to sleep.
Right.
They're rocking you to sleep. They're singing you a lullaby. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
They should all be,
Yeah.
all of them. And this is why I'm saying, so Jody, so this is the point that I always make, right? So yeah, like that dude at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, F him. Got it. But yo, Baraka, Ted Green, Dwayne Warren, Tony Voss, right? All these local mayors, right? And then work your way up, all the way up. They're all rocking you to sleep. They're all rocking you to sleep because they're all benefiting from this system. And you're paying out the ass. And then they tell you, stop Trump.
Yeah.
Wait, then they say, stop Trump. The Republicans, they're coming. I think that it is the biggest game. It's the biggest game.
Listen, man, they better watch out for Trump.
Yo.
Trump's press conference yesterday was amazing.
He said, don't worry about me.
Like,
Worry about them. See,
the television set. I said, oh, someone's telling him.
Trump said, who got your...
Now it's changing.
He said,
It's
who's
gonna
got
be
their
nice to
hands
see.
in your pockets?
Yeah. Absolutely. Listen, I'm going to let you guys go.
I
just
love you,
wanted to
darling.
get
Have
that-
a great
that-
weekend.
I love you too. And
Oh,
you
listen.
tell Lucy,
Jo-
we
Jo-
are all pushing for her.
Yeah, thank you, baby. It was heartbreaking to hear her talk
Absolutely.
to me yesterday about it, and wow. And you know, she said to me, she said, "Daddy, how'd you do it?" That's what she said to me. She was crying. She goes, "How did you do it?" So, but thank you very
know
much.
What?
And
I
listen,
hope Lucy's listening, right? How you did it was you had a daddy to call
Yes.
and guide you. When you were
Yes.
telling that story,
Yeah.
Eric, I
Yeah.
was like, wow,
Yeah.
Lucy doesn't know how blessed she is because I can't call my daddy
Yeah.
anymore, right?
Yeah.
That is what's going to pull Lucy through,
Yeah.
being able to call her daddy and have that. But we're all pulling for her. She needs to know that.
Yeah.
All of us in a spirit that wants to see that next generation come on through.
Yeah.
You let Lucy know we're pulling for her. We are.
thank you, darling.
We are. You guys have a good weekend.
You too.
And I hope Lucy, all right, I also hope Lucy's listening to the show, and I want to say this to her directly. There is nothing that is worthwhile that will come to you easy. You're going to have pushback. You are going to have struggles, but you are strong enough to persist and endure, and it will make you even better. And then you can do like your dad. When you learn from these mistakes and you learn how to be better, you teach other people.
Yeah.
That is what builds us up as a race, and it builds us up as a society. Hang in there, baby girl, because you are setting an example for my daughter who is entering into medical school. I need you to do well. I need you to show her the example. You guys have a good one. I'm going to let you guys go. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. So, we got a lot of work to do. We can't, like I said at the beginning of the show, we can't stop. We can't stop. We got to keep pushing. There are countless people, young people in particular, who need to be inspired. They need to see an example, right, of what fighting is, because there are too many examples of punk asses out there. Too many. And we have to show them, what it means to be able to stand up, what it means to be able to have a spine, right? What it means to be able to resist the carrot that the corporation white supremacy is most certainly going to dangle in front of you. right? What I mean, listen, and I don't tell many stories, but I want to tell this one. Um, and Jody's right. I pulled through it because I had a father who, just had, like, his intestinal fortitude was amazing. I remember when he was a prominent fixture, not just in Newark, but throughout New Jersey. And he was the chief of staff to the then Honorable Kenneth Allen Gibson. And I don't know the particulars of what was going down, but my dad was also the president of the Board of Education, and he just didn't want to deal with it. He didn't want to take the carrot that was being dangled in front of him. And so with 7 kids, he walked away. And with all of the knowledge and all of the prestige that came with it, he had a car, he had a driver, he had all of this stuff. He walked away. And you know what he did? He started selling t-shirts. And then he went to go clean offices, toilets. And what he taught all 7 of us was that it's not about the prestige of the job. It's about the job. It's about doing a good job at whatever it is to take care of your family. So,
That's right.
So I told
Absolutely
Lucy
right.
last night, I said to her, huh?
To quote Reverend Dr. King, the measure of a man is not how tall he stands and how high he looks when people are propping him up on a pedestal and giving him praise. The measure of a man is how anchored he is into his principles and his resolve when everything else around him is failing. Your father is the true measure of a man when he did that. When he walked away from people who wanted to bribe him and stood on his principles, even to the point of taking positions which other people would have felt to be beneath them. I definitely applaud a man of that character, because there are so many people who would have taken the bribe and done the wrong thing. And the fruits of his labor is that he produced you and your daughter, who are standing up and doing a good fight. No, none of that was done in vain. All of that was done with the purpose of blessing other people. And I want to thank you and thank him for it.
We got to resist the carrots. We got to resist them, because they're coming. Whenever you have Black Americans doing constructive things, trying to uplift folks in the community, you will always have, they're just lurking. They're lurking. They're right around you. They're right around me right now. I used to tell you guys when I was doing the show earlier that I would get phone calls. Eric, stop the show. Give you a $100,000 contract. Eric, just stop talking. We'll do this for you. Eric, you know how much money you could be making if you just did? Just whispers. Just whispers. Anyway, what else is going on? What else is going on?
Well, I think Governor Murphy made his change in conversation around education, because now you're starting to see in Florida, the teachers union is suing the state, saying they're not going back to school. They're not sending their teachers back to what we have already deemed as death traps, because that's what they are now, or would be.
Yeah.
So I think that he's starting to see, I don't know if he's starting to see or the people around him are starting to pay attention more to what is happening. What we did not talk about just this past weekend, did you read in the newspaper, it was all over the news, it was on NJ.com, a federal judge's house was ambushed and her son was killed by an attorney, one of the Newark federal judges, Judge Salas.
Really?
Yes. So over the weekend, they had found the suspect. He was actually an attorney that had came before her some years ago. They saw that he was a misogynist. He had posted so much anti-feminist stuff. Came to her house in New Brunswick on Sunday. Her son answered the door. Her husband was there. And another attorney was there in the basement. But the son answered the door. He shot and killed her son. 20-year-old son, Daniel, was shot and killed. And another attorney was injured. Her husband was also injured. He was shot as well. He was in surgery, and I think he's still in the critical list right now. But yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's craziness.
Absolutely crazy. So Judge Salas is a Latina a judge, and she was appointed by President Obama back in 2015.
Wow.
To the U.S. District. So I thought that was crazy because you really, I can't even remember the last time we've heard about a judge that was actually ambushed or someone came to their house or something like that to cause harm to them. But yeah, so that's sad. They ended up finding the perpetrator, which was another attorney, I said, back in his home, which was like 300 or 400 miles away, and he had committed suicide.
Wow.
Yeah, so a big mess.
And well, there's a special place for him.
We talked about before in Maplewood and South Orange, remember the district had a segregation lawsuit.
Yeah.
That the organization Black Parents Workshop had put together in South Orange and Maplewood, and they were suing the school district.
My good friend Walter Fields was a part of that.
Classrooms. So they won their lawsuit. They recognize what they're saying is that the school officials put forth a resolution stating that they recognize that the district is trying to make strides. They have already made new changes and proposals under the new superintendent that they have. We talked about when the lawsuit was filed back in 2018, the district was, of course, tracking and leveling groups of students in tiered classes based on their test scores and systematically discriminating against black students, putting them in lower classes and not allowing them to excel.
Now, Diane, we talked about that on this show. I had, when I was...
He came on. I believe he came on as
That's
well,
right. Walter Fields came on and talked about it. And his daughter, Jordan, who is now, I don't know, I know she's on her way to grad school, but she graduated Pitt. Brilliant young lady, was an incredible athlete. Walter has since left Maplewood, and I think he's in Maryland now. They live in Maryland. But yeah, and he won his very specific lawsuit, advocating for his kids. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying to you. Like, we got to fight. There's no time to rest. They are actively trying to kill us off. So in not only in South Orange, Maplewood, but I talked about it in Montclair as well, right? You go into these communities that look diverse. You drive through them, you go, oh my gosh, look how beautiful this is. You got this rainbow coalition going on, you got all this stuff happening, this multicultural thing happening. Then you go into the schools and you look and you say, man, you got black kids, you got white kids, you got Asian kids, you got Hispanic children. Oh, this is lovely. But then you go into the advanced placement classes and college preparatory classes, and you don't see that rainbow. And you scratch your head and say, wait a minute, how's that happen? How do you do you understand what I'm saying?
How is that possible?
That's right. And Courtney Wicks was on talking about it happening in Hoboken, in Jersey City. So it's happening all over. And again, where are we fighting for these kids? Where are we as adults, as parents, as black Americans, where are we fighting for them? Because over there, they're fighting for their kids. They're fighting that to make sure. And then, you know what they do? And so this is the call I get from Lucy yesterday. She goes, Daddy, she said, it's always been challenging for me being where I have been, at the top of my class, people looking at me and accusing me of being there because of filling a quota. So now she gets there, and they don't acknowledge that she's just a bright kid. They look and they try to shame you and say, well, you're here because you're black.
That's absolutely right.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And so when I talk about the micro and macro aggressions, they don't even allow you to embrace your brilliance.
No, they won't acknowledge your brilliance. See, that's been going
on. Oh no, wait a minute. That's not true, Vincent. They know it. They won't allow you. See, what they do is they try to strip you, right, of embracing it, because that empowers you. See, they know, but they won't allow you to know. Or they try to deprive you from knowing and embracing it. They try to sow seeds of doubt in your head that you're there because you're brilliant. That somehow there was some shenanigans that got you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course. Because the more... Go ahead, Diane.
There's another lawsuit that's going on currently in Montclair with another young student who has been bullied to the fact that the teachers, the principal, superintendent have turns around and said it's not happening. It's a part of a figment of her imagination. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on in what we consider these diverse communities that are really not diverse for our education for our kids.
They're not. And see, and look, guys, part of the reason mute your phone, please.
Vincent, turn your phone.
Part of the reason why I feel the need to come on here, and I've said this too, Diane, years ago on the show. I've been very, very blessed to be on both sides of this thing, right? And to see it. And at 57 years old, I feel like I've got like this world of like just experiences. And so when we were fortunate enough to just move right up 78, like it's not even a 20-minute ride from Newark, right, to Berkeley Heights, but it's a completely different world. And when I got there, it was like having a peek into the corporation of white supremacy. It really was. It was like, because they were looking at me like, who the hell are you, when we moved up there? Because out of that whole community of people, when we first moved there, we were one of 10 black families in the entire town. And my children were one of 3 black kids in the entire school district. And I sat them down and I told them, I said, listen, you will excel. When we leave this community, we will have put our stamp on it. And by God, my kids did. And so in the end, Diane, I was sitting there as both of my oldest two, because we had to pull Nia out. I told you when Eric Garner was choked and died and murdered, all right, and she wore a shirt to school that said, I can't breathe. A day or two later, 20 or so white kids wore shirts to school that say, I can breathe. So we had to get her out because I would have choked somebody. But when my older two were there and they graduated and they were inducted into the National Honor Society. They were inducted into the French Honor Society. They were inducted into the Science Honor Society. So I, as a black parent, as a black American, right, was able to look at that school system and say, we contributed back. Lucy still has records on the track team that probably will never be broken up there in Berkeley. So we left that community. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But the entire time these kids worked their asses off, you had that entire infrastructure trying to convince them that somehow their successes were not really their successes. That somehow because they were people of color, you see, that they were awarded these things. It was crazy. Crazy. So even on the like literally, and I'm chuckling the entire time. Even on the graduation, where you see all of the parents show up on the graduation, they're wearing the shirts of the schools that their children were selected into. Well, when Olivia was graduating, she was accepted into USC, into the illustrious film school, and so I had on the USC hat and the shirt and my sports jacket, and it was crazy. The parents go, "She got a USC?" Hey, I didn't ask you. You had your shirt on. Your kid got there, right? You understand what I'm saying?
Microaggressions. Yeah.
Microaggression.
Wow,
Microaggressions,
really?
right?
Yeah.
Then when Lucy graduated, UPenn, right? So I had my UPenn hat on and my UPenn thing. Same thing. She had a UPenn. I didn't ask you. This is what goes on, and we have to push back, and we have to protect our children. We have to fight for them. And when I say our children, I don't just mean your biological children.
Right.
They're all our children. Because some of them, like Jody said, they don't have a father. Or they have a strung out mother.
Right.
Come on,
Or
guys.
they're raised by grandparents.
Or they're raised by grandparents.
Yeah.
We got to keep
Absolutely.
pushing. Because they're
So
pushing.
For the last 12 minutes, I got something good for you because we talked about this.
That's right, and I had dreadlocks.
COVID.
Mark just came in, and I'm sorry, Diane. And I was up there driving them crazy because I had dreadlocks down to my ass. They're like, "Oh my God!" They said,
So he's like, we got a Rastafarian.
"They said we got a Rastafari here."
Who let him in?
They let.
Close the border. How did he get in here?
They did, and I'm telling you, Mark can. People who know me can attest to everything I'm saying to be true.
Oh man, so funny. So last 12 minutes, and I hope Farrakhan is still listening because we talked about this way in the beginning. Back in
I'm on the phone.
Oh, okay, good. This one is the article I pulled especially for you guys. Strict club stimulus reveals a lingering uncertainties over the U.S. small business aid. So the business federal aid that they're giving out, well, not really aid, I don't know why they call it aid, but it is aid, but they're grants and more loans than grants, are saying that strip clubs don't qualify because they're saying that nearly 4 months since the launch of the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protective Program, is still unclear with the SBA. Trump has barred companies that present live performances of sexual nature from participating, saying that clubs sued and 2 federal judges rebuked the SBA for excluding the establishments from receiving the forgivable loans meant to protect jobs amid the health crisis.
Listen,
So-
Boo is an entrepreneur. She's an entrepreneur with skills. Yo, come on. She's an entrepreneur. Just like if Farrakhan was renting out the chairs in his barbershop, right, to other barbers, and they had a skill, right, they should be covered. They should be covered. Like, come on. I'm making light of it, but it's really not, some of these folks, and we could, look, yeah, I think that it's horrible.
They should be covered because let's think about it this way. They still got to pay taxes.
They got to pay taxes. Yes, and they
They
contribute.
require them to pay into the tax system, so they should be able to benefit from this as well.
And Diane, and they contribute to the economy. Do you understand what I'm
in
saying?
many ways.
In a lot.
In many ways, they do.
Hey, I clap to that. Oh, gosh. Yes.
You know, the funny thing about that, Diane,
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
go ahead, what you got that?
No,
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say that when I was doing my application for the SBA loan thing, and I saw that, I was like, that was one of the they didn't put it as it was one of the disqualifications, but it was one of the things that, you have to mark off, right? And so you mark it off of this whole list of things, and as you get, you're not thinking that if you mark this off, you're going to get disqualified or you won't. But that was the whole thing. And I remember thinking whoa, it's still a business, right? But,
and it's a legal business. Absolutely.
Yeah, right. It's legal. You got a license. You pay taxes. You pay for business registration. You pay your annuals. You do all the things you got to do. So why not? I mean, who knows? I don't know where the logic was in that, but surely I don't think if their industry fights it legally, right, they should win it, right?
Yeah. Well, I think they should win it, and legally they should win. I think the only reason to push back that he could say why they wouldn't get it is because they probably some of the highest paid people out here.
But wait a minute, but here's the other piece about this. All of the people pushing back against them all go to strip clubs. They all watch porn. They all get titillated by all of this stuff. And then
they marry porn stars.
That's right. There you go. There you go. Come on, Melania, make it clap.
See, and some of them even have sex with them before they become president.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And then some of them, and then before they come president, they grab them by the
AFP.
There you go.
And that's the whole thing. Let's see those people who've been wearing them, grab them by the VJJ shirts, vote this year. Because it's time that we now make a permanent stance. And more, the state of Florida, certain cities in Atlanta, they are now standing up against this. And they are actually, I'm sorry, I'm in a noisy neighborhood. I'll comment later.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Yes, sir.
Can I just throw this out there? Yesterday, it was announced, toted on all the news stations that we had reached 1 million new COVID cases inside of 15 days. Mm-hmm. Right? But there's a strange, I don't want to call it anomaly, but there's something that there wasn't talking about, which was that for 1 million new cases, we had less than 10,000 deaths.
Right.
That is now understand, for the first 3 million cases, we had 140,000 deaths, right? Or 130,000 deaths. So that's about 40,000 deaths per million. We are now sitting 75% lower than that, right? We are at 10,000 deaths per million. What were they doing? There's been no new therapy, there's no new treatment, there's no cure.
I'll tell you.
What has caused a reduction?
So
75% of deaths. Listen, I've been following this since the inception. What has been causing some of the limitations or not as many deaths is that they are learning more about the virus and how to treat it.
Right.
So they no longer strap people. I got, and that's my point. That's my point. My point is, so what they were doing was that what was causing such a high
No. Not what they were doing, but what they didn't know to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Farrakhan, it's kind of like 100 years ago. If you had cancer, what would they do? Right? How would they treat it? Now that they understand it, they treat it differently, right? So the mortality rate based on like literally 50 years ago, I'd be dead right now, right? But thank God, the technology, advancement in medicine, all that kind of stuff, I'm not. So instead of vilifying the medical industry, I'm applauding them, saying, look, they learned. This was novel. They didn't see it before. They didn't know. So they're learning as they go. And I'm saying they're doing a yeoman's job at figuring this thing out. And this thing doesn't want to be figured out. It wants to survive. It wants to kill. That's what it does.
I guess we're speaking from two sides of the same coin on this. I'm not questioning that. What I'm questioning is what the method was, the cure, let's just say, right? Was the cure worse than the disease at that time?
Well, no, but understand this too.
Actually now, because let's be clear,
right.
Now they're actually doing less, right?
Right.
Most doctors will tell you, we're not going straight to ventilators. We're not using these particular drug cocktails. We're doing less and treatments to get you a healthier result.
Wait a minute. But understand this too, Farrakhan. The other data But the other data that you're not looking at is this, right? The people who were contracting it, a lot of them had underlying conditions that led to fatal outcomes, right? And so, like my grandmother, who's in a senior citizen building, that building's still locked down, right? So before it wasn't, and so those deaths were coming out of senior citizen buildings and other buildings with elderly people. So those folks are being isolated. So part of the group of people who are contracting it are folks who are not susceptible in ways that would lead to more fatal outcomes. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
No, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. It's just that I would like to see, and I do believe that it's going to come out later on. Okay, that a huge one. We already knew that they were associating everything with COVID-19 and deaths of COVID-19 in the earlier stages of this, right? And then two, I do believe that the treatments that were being given were more harmful than they state. I believe that it is not an anomaly. Okay, that you will have a reduction of 75%. That's what we're talking about. A reduction of 75%.
Yeah.
That is not.
No, but I'm saying to you again. But
I'd be really careful with the math, because there are other surveys out there by the American Medical that are saying a little bit different. But yes, there has been a reduction. I mean, we're talking about million cases. In the last million cases, 10,000 people died.
No, but you're missing what I'm saying. But you're missing what I'm saying again. Let me say it like this. If you have if you take the group that is most at risk of a fatal outcome and you isolate them back, right? So you say, okay, we're going to take them. We're going to essentially quarantine them. And then the group of people who are least likely to have a fatal outcome, right? Those folks are now returning to work and doing all of these kinds of things. Well, yes, they're going to contract it.
You're saying that we've already gotten past the dangerous people, the people that were absolutely going to die. And
Right.
I got you on that. Like those people that
No, that's not what I'm saying.
To survive.
I'm saying that those. I'm saying
Let
we.
me give you this analysis. And please, people don't think I'm sexist, but I really want to get this point out. There's a big difference between a person who is making love the first time and a person who's got a few years under their belt. What's the difference? Experience, knowledge, understanding, and making better performance.
Very sexist.
Yeah.
And we're at the 12 o'clock mark.
All right.
All right, John. Everybody have a great weekend. Love y'all.
Hey, I love you too, man.
Monday.
Listen, guys,
Monday.
we got to keep pushing. Can't let up. They're going to want you to, but they're not letting up. And we got to understand that, right? So keep pushing. Thank you all for tuning in. And listen, I can't thank my family enough for showing up. Diane, I literally did not run out of gas. I could keep going for another 2 hours.
But you don't. But look, you don't have to this time.
I don't have
take
to.
a nap.
I don't have to. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for weighing in the feed and all that stuff. Vincent, you want to close this out?
On behalf of Eric Dawson and the queen of streaming media, Diane Murray, I'm Vincent Squire. Don't let your foot off the gas. Let's keep pushing. They want us to stop and roll over and let them take over us, but we have to fight to live. I'm Vincent Squire, and join us again Monday. If it's God's will, we'll be here again, sharing our information and our experience with you, and hoping and bettering us as a people and bettering the world. God bless.